What's up, everybody on YouTube? It's been a minute, but we're super excited to tell you guys about this new project we got going on. This is the bike that we call the Death Machine. It's very sentimental to me. This is the bike that was owned by a guy that got me into bikes. There was only two guys back in the late 90s, 1996. Two of my really close friends were riding Harleys and got me into it. And this was my guy JT's bike that unfortunately is no longer with us, but this was his bike. And I had it for a while. It was a finished semi-show bike called the Death Machine. It was in a couple magazines. As the company grew, we kind of outgrew how we did some things. So it's been in the we're about to redo it stage for a long time now. Just got done, for those of you who follow along what we do, it had a long 16-over front end on it. Changed all that back, and the importance and the relevance of, I think, what we're trying to do now is bring this thing back to how it's a forever bike, never getting rid of it. Bring it back to how we did it in 1996. And back then, you couldn't really customize a lot of stuff. We couldn't fabricate, you couldn't really buy the stuff. So the only way you customized your bike really was to get some kind of aftermarket front end and an aftermarket frame that's like a Santee frame, put a little bit longer front end on it, and put ape hangers to the sky and a sissy bar. And the traditional Dave Mann painting, that's how, we saw that as how you customized your bike. It was either that or drag bars, and we were all tall. We didn't fit on the drag bikes, So this is kind of what we did. So I'm bringing it kind of back to how that was. These aren't the handlebars that are gonna go on it. Our buddy Bobby Goodtimes up in Chicago is gonna make us some of his signature bend bars, which have a tighter radius as opposed to this 3-inch radius. I'm gonna go with traditional shotguns. You guys know we do a bunch of stainless stuff, so these are gonna feature our 2-up, further forward kind of mid-control. I'm tall, so I'm gonna put them where I want them. Spool front wheel, dual caliper rear brake, because this is a 96-inch S&S stroker motor that has had a lot of head work done to it, cam work, ported and polished heads. This is a fast bike. But what I decided to do to kind of make it traditional is make everything else on the bike look like it could have had an older motor in it, because what we did when we got involved in doing all this stuff is we had all the old bikes we couldn't afford. An Evolution motor back in that time, you could get a factory one, or you were like on the wait list to get a new bike. So the only people we had to ride with were club people, and our old stuff couldn't keep up with them. So we all inevitably ended up with a kick-only bike with an Evo motor in it, and they did us well for a long time. We cammed them, geared them, and we could run down the highway with everybody. They were great bikes, and that's what I've done with this. This had a 5-speed in it when it was the other Death Machine I was telling you about, the magazine bike, and I went back to a kick-only, which should be fun with a stroker motor, kick-only 4-speed that our buddy Gavin hooked us up with. I was up in the air with different oil tank stuff, man. And this frame, when we redid the bike, is the first version of the Death Machine. We'll call that the 1.0, not 2.0 version. We used an old Chopper Zinc Billy Lane trick with the frame and narrowed the frame, which really screws you on oil capacity, battery capacity. This bike never wanted to start with a stroker motor. It had a Sportster battery in it. And I just decided to go with like the traditional panhead electric start style oil tank, but I narrowed it a little bit to fit with the frame, where this would normally pop out quite a bit here. So it's just kind of tacked together, mocked together for now. But now this seat was one of the first seats that I did, it's probably been 12 years ago now. That was one of the first presentable seats that I got together that looked nice. And I really got into doing a lot of leather tooling. Everybody knows my nickname's Fish. Koi fish are a really good toolable leather type design of art to put on seats. And that's part of what made the bike what it was when we redid it before. And so I definitely reconfigured some stuff. The problem was when the other bike was together, the sissy bar was angled way far back. And that's just how we got wild the day we were fabricating and rolled with it. But what I wanted to do is kind of pull it together a little bit more and make this a little bit more vertical and a little more traditional. So I had to actually cut this back piece of the seat and redo it so I could bend the seat a little bit further forward and redo the sissy bar. The other sissy bar we had chrome. This is all stainless, you know, so it's really gonna pull the bike together. And when you look at the bike, it's got the right stance. We went with a 4-over springer. I was able to take and cut up the frame, put it in our CT Newman jig, and really get the rake and trail just perfect. This has got a 31-degree rake. The trail is like right at 3 inches. So it's gonna track good, it's gonna ride great, it's gonna, I mean, this bike's gonna boogie, you know, so, but yeah, we're also gonna get to use another piece of Leatherwork that was one of the first bags that I did, and we did the Alleyway logo on it, but the bag will sit right here. And the idea, man, I was really inspired by a lot of the Frank Ball bikes that were out at Born Free this year, the 5-ball racing bikes, you know. Man, they were just the traditional, how you would have seen them back in the 90s, and that's just such a classic, hard, easy rider bike look. And I'm really leaning towards painting this thing black, like, you know, almost like black, like these are the helmets that we have on our site that we do, but do black with some kind of traditional flames. And I want the bike to be timeless. I don't want to redo this again. You know what I mean? And there would be no reason to. It's gonna be money, you know what I mean? So we're looking forward to, the bike's got a hell of a backstory that's real personal to us. It was, you know, part of the history of getting into bikes, and we wouldn't be here today doing what we do if it wasn't for those guys influencing me to get me into everything. And you know, so we're going to do a couple series of videos, but that's the idea, a little bit of the design and how some of the fab's coming together. And we'll keep rolling to bring you guys some more content on this bike, because I think it's going to turn out really killer. So you guys, thanks for sticking with us. Really appreciate everybody who's liked and subscribed to the channel. The channel's growing. If you got any questions about the bike or how we did anything like that, just message us. If you want to hear something else in the content of us explaining how we did some other stuff, let us know, man. We'll squeeze it in the next video. But thank you guys for sticking in there, and we'll catch you on the next video.